Hello there, and a huge welcome to this week's episode of Gina Gardiner and Friends. My friend today is a very special man. He's an entertainer, he's a traditional country singer, and he's got a beautiful voice. And during the show, we're actually going to listen to two of his records. His name is Jimmy Parker, and I am absolutely thrilled to be able to welcome him onto my show.
Thank you very much, Gina. It's an honor to be with you today.
Oh, thank you for coming. So before we get started, please share your story. How have you come to be an entertainer and what have you been up to in the music world?
Well, I guess it's like with a lot of entertainers, they start at a young age, learn to play piano, take lessons, or they'll pick up a guitar and start working on it. And then the next thing you know, they're playing in bands. Well, that kind of happened with me. I started playing piano at 6 years old. My mom and dad noticed some talent, so they gave me lessons for like 4 years. And then when I was about 13 years old, I went out on a camping trip with the Boy Scouts, and this guy had a guitar, and we all got in a tent. It was a cold winter night, it was snowing outside.
Goodness, under canvas in
And
the winter.
yeah, so we were like in the tent, and had a little bit of a lantern type thing to help keep us warm. And we didn't get to had it open where the smoke could go out of the tent. But we had a poker game going, and I had like 25 pennies, and I lost my 25 cents. And I sat over there and I looked. I said, "This guy's got a guitar, and he had a Beatles book too, and it showed how to play the chords on the guitar." So
Right.
I worked all night long while they were playing poker. I was doing that. When they finished the game, I was actually doing the song "All My Love" from the Beatles. So I
Goodness
was
me.
playing that. And then I went from there and I learned, hey, this guitar is a lot easier to carry around than a big upright piano.
It is.
So yeah, I got in the band. I played all the way through high school, and it just carried on over through my college years. I played, some music. I didn't have bands back then, but I played some music. And then I went into the army and played music around the world with them. And not necessarily that was my occupation in the army, but it was my spare time things that I
Yeah.
did. I also picked up a little bit of acting jobs when I was in the army, but that's how it grew into that. And after I got out the army, I just pursued music, and I knew I had to survive. So I got a job teaching. That was when I moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 1990. And I finally retired from teaching, and that gave me the ability or the time then to really pursue my music, and I've been going ever since.
It's interesting, isn't it, how when we can work doing our passion, how I think the quality of life changes. I want to ask you, what does music mean to you?
Music is part of me. It's expression, it's feeling. It makes me happy. It makes me sad. I always like to say, um, I love sad songs because they make me happy. You know, and that's a lot of singers will tell you that if you ask them, and sometimes, but I've always heard that a long time ago. I said sad songs make me happy. So when I sing them, and if I've got the right emotion behind them, I got my heart in it, not my mind, but my heart
Yeah.
in the song as I'm singing it. I'm noticing these people in the audience that are listening, and they're actually believing what I'm singing, and that's a very important aspect of being an entertainer, is being able to touch the audience with your work, with your performance.
We're going to listen to a couple of your songs during the show. And in a moment, we're going to listen to Live Before I Die, which is one of your songs. I wanted to explore with you the whole theme of that every song has a story. Well, every one of your songs has a story, because there are quite a few songs
Right.
where it's hard to find the story. And I believe that every person has a story. You
Well,
talk about every song has a story, or every one of the songs that you sing has a story. Talk to me about why that's so important to you.
to me, I like to sing songs with stories to them. because you know a lot of times you know a singer sometimes is a storyteller, and what is important to me is that I can feel what I want to sing so that it comes truthfully from my heart. And if it's something that I have experienced, that's even more feeling that I can put into it. Now, sometimes I will get a song that I haven't had that experience before, but I know the songwriter, for example, the next song you're going to play of mine, the You Never Know song, one of the songwriters went through that, and I know him, so I can feel his emotion, and I can put it inside of me to put out.
Yeah.
But that's what story songs are. They're feelings, they're emotions. They grab you, you know, grab your attention, and you want to hear the whole song because you want to know how it ends. It has, a, you know, sometimes it has a sad ending, sometimes it has a happy ending. But that's how story songs work. You know, some songs aren't story songs. They're just basically a melody, and they have a certain line that is repeated over and over and all that, and that's great too. But that's just not me.
No.
Uh, I want to tell a story with my songs, even if it's a fast one or a slow one.
You know, I find it really interesting. I use music a lot with my clients to
Mhm.
help them get in touch with their feelings
Yeah,
or to help them manage their feelings. And it's a very personal, isn't it, subjective thing about which songs resonate with us and which songs um, have that that ability to take us back in time or to take us out of a particular mood and cheer us up or to calm us down. For you, when you were growing up, what which songs really resonated with you? Can you remember which songs had a particular meaning for you?
well, you know, the "All My Lovin'" that the Beatles song, the first one I learned. You know, I'd heard the Beatles sing that. That's in that Beatles book that he had with the guitar chords and
Yeah.
everything on it. Found that song. I said, I love that song. I want to learn to play it. And not only that, I learned how to do the chords. You know, it
Yeah.
was a long night, but I learned it.
Yeah.
But you know, songs like that, and then of course I got into the rock category after that. You know, kind of you know, moving into my teenage years and high school years, where we did Beach Boys, for example, out of California. The Beach Boys, they had some awesome songs. California Girls, you know.
Indeed, indeed.
In My Room, Surfing USA, you know, that, and a lot of that was story songs. They were telling you a little story in them. Then I moved on, and then finally one day I listened to an album called The Outlaws by Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Jesse Coulter, and oh gosh, I can't remember the fourth guy, but and it'll probably come to me. But that changed me right there. Those songs on that album that were country, you know, and it was kind of like a Waylon country because it was his style, changed me. And I've been that particular country ever since. And you know, I still look for those type of songs that have a feeling into them and stories and all. So.
Isn't that interesting how listening or one event, a song or an experience can change the direction of your life?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you know, I work with lots of people and everybody has a story to tell, and that story is one that is unique to them. And yet the common threads of stories, you know, broken relationships, somebody achieving something despite their difficulties. You know, there are so many common stories which are rich pickings, aren't they, for country songs?
Oh yes, you can find any country song. You can find one about love. You can find one about hate. You can find one about getting together. You can find one about breaking up, uh, death, life. Everything is in country songs. And I'm not saying that it's not in other songs either. But the true country songs are very truthful about life. You know, positive or negative is very truthful about life.
I think that's one of the things that I enjoy about listening to country music is that there seems to be a real authenticity behind
Very
them.
authentic. Yes.
And you talked about, you know, uh, approaching a song with real heart. And I think for me, that's certainly one of the things that makes it feel very personal. And I think that's really powerful.
Exactly.
We've got the delight of another of your songs. It's called
Okay.
You Never Know. So
Beautiful
I
song.
hope you're going to enjoy it. I'm sure you are, but please don't go away. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're very welcome.
So, Jimmy, talk to me about how, when you taught other people, was that teaching music or were you teaching another subject?
I was a high school teacher. I taught physical education and health, and that was I even got a master's degree in educational leadership, but I never did get into the administrative work. I just stayed like a teacher for the students, and I wasn't tough on my students, but I was firm and and made them do their work, and hopefully that they would learn from it. And I've got students since I retired from teaching back in 2012. I got former students today that on my Facebook page that'll message me said, "Oh, Mr. Parker, I'll never forget you were one of the greatest teachers I've had," or something like that, And I have to thank you so much. But and it was just it's just part of life, being a health teacher and all. Actually, it helped me because I could stay healthy. I learned the aspects of staying healthy, and I may not look like it, but I learned the aspects, diets and mentally thinking and all those things like that, to keep myself healthy, so I can continue to do what I love to do, which is music and sometimes acting.
It's interesting, isn't it? My background is I was a principal for 20 years and I was a class teacher for 10 years before that. And, being a model for your students, actually modeling the behaviors that you want them to demonstrate, I think is really important. I also think it's important for leaders, the whatever aspect of your life, being genuine, do as I do rather than do as I say, for me is really, really important. I know that you are still very busy in the music industry. What's your dream? There's still a lot of life in the old dog yet, if you don't mind me saying so. So what is it you want to do still? What's there still that you're really keen to do?
Well, first off, I'd like to say about the dreams. Dreams are meant for chasing. Okay,
I
they are
agree.
meant for chasing. And so, without hesitation, I keep going. Do I feel like I'm going to be a big time entertainer or something? On the marquee and drawing 50,000 fans? No, I don't. I don't overplay it. Back in the early days, yes, I wanted to be a big time record label star and stuff like that. But the more I kept doing it, I said, you know what? Quit thinking about and putting yourself on the pedestal rather than just do your thing and let it happen. And that's how I did. I just did my thing. This is what I'm going to do. If they want me, they know where I am. And I'm not going to chase them and their dreams because they might not even open the door. And when I first moved to Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, I was downtown on 16th Avenue, which is a big place. Back then, they were all over the place. I knocked on doors, and every time a door opened, there was a latch for the back door to walk out of. So, but I did have a period of time where I had to get out of music, and I was out for 6 years. That was because of my wife's health.
I'm
And
sorry.
after she passed in 2003, that's when I made a decision to get back into music because I missed it so much. And not saying I didn't miss her, but I had to give it up for her health, to take care of her. But when I got back into music, I said I've got one of two choices: play their game or do it my way. And I went the second way. And that's where I say if they wanted me, they can find me because they'll know where I'm at. Because Believe me, if you're out there making noise, somebody is going to hear you. And they either like you or they don't. But that you can't, don't let that get to your head. I tell all these young entertainers, just get out there and do it because you love it. And I said, if you don't love it, it ain't going to happen for you. It's going to, you got to love what you're doing. And that's me.
I think that's a huge lesson for everybody to take on board, whether you're talking about music or art or dance, or in my case, helping people become empowered and become enlightened leaders, whether you're a gardener, whatever it is, if you can do what you really enjoy and what you love, then it never feels like work.
That's right.
But I also think that one of the lessons that you're offering people there is there's many people who think that the be all and end all is to be a celebrity. And in doing so, they almost sell their soul. They'll do anything in order to be noticed, and they stop being them.
That's right.
And I think being true to yourself is a really important part of learning to live your best life.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I'll add to what I said. I had 3 opportunities. I had 3 meetings with record labels, big time record labels, people that got me into a meeting to possibly sign with, and 2 of them basically they said I was too country at that time because country music was starting to change over.
Yes.
So I was too country. So I got up, and of course, one of them I told him, I said, well, thank you very much. He said, well, what are you thanking me for? I said, for still knowing what country music is supposed to sound like. If I'm too country, then you know what it sounds like. But anyway, the third one was a different type of story. But it was a guy that was going to help me get signed, but he went into the hospital and he passed away before he could get out and help me. And he could have done it because he could have done it. Won't say no more about that. But anyway, I just continued to do it myself. And I said, like I said, if they like me, they could find me, and we'll talk. But at my age now, I still do it because I love it. I travel. This past summer, I'm 73 years old, and this past summer, I traveled over 8,000 miles performing different places.
Goodness me. Well, it's been a joy having you on the show. Thank you so much, and for sharing your music too. We're very proud to be members of B1G1, Buy One, Give One. It's an organisation that has projects all the way around the world, all sorts of projects to help people who are really struggling and to help the environment. And I invite all of my guests to choose one of 4 projects, and we will donate on your behalf. If you're out there and you're a business owner, it's a really great way to make giving part of your marketing. You can be helping people at the same time. And, if you are listening, please encourage other people to listen, because we donate free meals to people who would otherwise be hungry, based on the number of people who listen to the show. So the 4 projects at the moment are clean water, feeding the hungry, education, and there is a project for young people in the Ukraine. Which of those 4 would you like us to donate to on your behalf?
I like to do the feeding the hungry because I hate seeing homeless people and things like that, and I give to the rescue mission here in Nashville. So I think I would like to have my name with the feed the hungry.
So a donation will be going in your name to B1G1.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. So Jamie, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you as listeners for joining me. I'd love to know your story. I'd love to know how your life is going and whether there is a story that would be right for the show. So please do email me at Gina, Gina, at Gina Gardiner and Friends. And Gardiner is Gardiner. So that's Gina at Gina Gardiner and Friends. And thank you so much for joining me. Please join me on the next show. Bye bye now.